Nutrition. Nutrition is influence that supports the body, mind, and spirit in evolving towards a state of optimal health. The health of the society is fundamentally the same as the health of an individual. Over time, the degree of health achieved by either is simply the result of nutrients consumed, offset by influences that work in opposition to those nutrients. In the case of individual physicality, the consumption of a diet that is balanced according to need in conjunction with holistically strenuous exercise produces health. To the extent consumption of non-nutritious matter occurs, and to the extent physical exercise does not take place, the possibility of optimal health is decreased. The promotion of ever-increasing consumption, regardless of the nutritiousness of its content, has outweighed this simple inherent understanding. Mankind's subjective desire to consume, sparked and intensified by an increased understanding of how to entice basic instincts, overwhelms mankind's fundamental objective interest in achieving and maintaining a state of optimal health at both the individual and collective levels. As a species, humans need to reconnect with their fundamental objective interest where physical health is concerned. But humans must go far further than that if they are to understand the effect of an imbalance of nutrition on a wider stage. Nutrition, as a meaningful term, must be considered in reference not just to the content of food in relation to the functional needs of muscles and organs, but to the entire input and output of mankind's endeavor. This more complete understanding of nutrition requires recognition of the principle of the term, that it should connote not food, but influence. It must connote a fresh vegetable that influences the state of physical health with vitamins and minerals. It must connote a sustained period of high-intensity exercise that influences physical health by breaking down, so to strengthen, muscles that can then be used not just in the completion of tasks, but in the avoidance of preventable injury. It must connote a work of literature, a work thought out by an intelligent mind that raises important questions about the experience of life, that causes the reader to engage in the exercise of his mind, so to influence his intellectual strength, his intellectual health, so that later decisions will be better informed. It must connote a period of time spent outside in nature, walking slowly beside a stream or beneath trees, in the sun or rain, wind or snow, to influence the spirit towards balance and harmony. Only with quiet balance can life begin to be considered as a whole. Just as the body requires clean water to thrive, so too does rational contemplation require quiet balance to thrive. The chronic, subtle anxiousness that results from the inundation of individuals with sufficient noise to distract them from thinking, at least for long enough that they may be influenced to consume ever more ultimately meritless provision, is not conducive to the development of quiet balance. All of the various influences inherent in life should be treated as if they were items of food. The individual's surroundings should be like a market for the intellect, a market filled with that which will feed rather than spoil the intellect. The world of the intellect should be devoid of the meritless. It should be filled instead with the fruit and vegetables, the lean proteins, and the whole grain energy of the intellectual world. Until as a species humans choose to embrace solely that which is of substance in the world, rather than the empty shells promoted by empty profit or power-seeking interests, humans shall continue as a species to follow the path of exercise-free, nutrient-deficient physical and mental lethargy that will cause the loss of everything previously gained by leaner, sterner forebears. Subjectively, nutrition is the food that feeds that which it strengthens. If the goal is to worsen the health, then the nutrition to feed that goal would include anything that effectively diminishes the health. But physical health is not subjective. Physical health, rather, is defined in terms of strength, resilience, longevity, agility, and capability. The nutrition that instigates those traits is particular and vulnerable to being overrun. Ideally, nothing of lesser health should be consumed, whether by the body or the mind or the spirit. The individual should seek to consume only the most nutrient-rich influences available. In determining what those influences are, a value scale applies. Objective rationality requires attention be first directed to that which is most nutritious. To determine what is most nutritious, an individual must first understand the hierarchy of his own individual being. He must understand his body as the vehicle of his mind, and his mind as the vehicle for his spirit. The spirit of the person is the fundamental that determines the state of the mind and the body. Where the spirit leads, so the mind and body must go. Where the spirit is silent, the direction is left to the mind. Where the spirit and the mind are silent, then the body may mindlessly rule. Nutrition for the spirit can be found in the influence of water. Nutrition for the spirit includes the shedding of lesser objectives for greater objectives. It includes the exercise that strengthens and tempers the spirit, that allows the greater objectives to be reached. Nutrition for the spirit requires the attention be turned to consider that which is more beautiful as can be conceived. It requires that beauty be the object of adoration, the object that would be imitated, the object that the viewer should be. To achieve this nutrition, the individualized spirit of the person must both sacrifice and uphold itself. By sacrificing lesser objectives, the spirit sacrifices the security of the sense of achievement that came with the accomplishment of those objectives. The spirit must shift ever again into the unknown space. The spirit must never be satisfied until it has dissipated its own existence to nothing. This path is only possible through pride of purpose, through the hoarding of integrity, through the guarding of individualized purpose. In that way, the spirit upholds itself, not all of itself, but its core, that part of itself that is the singular beacon, the view of the singular light that guides beauty, harmony, balance, the totality of the universe itself. Nutrition for the mind can be found in works that test the faculty of intellect and emotion. It can be found in works that intelligently question and challenge, that force the individual to both love and despise himself, to love and strengthen that which is strong, to despise and shed that which is weak. The strengthening of the mind is not a matter of relieving the mind of disappointment. It is a matter of directing the mind towards that which is not disappointing, of attributing and apportioning disappointment where it is due, so that it can be stood upon to better view the stronger position, the more intelligent position, that which is reached for. Thus, nutrition for the mind exists in works that challenge the weakness, whether those be ill-calibrated emotional response mechanisms or failures of objective understanding by the intellect. Nutrition for the body can be found in that which strengthens the body by making it better servant for the mind's aspirations. For the mind to aspire, it must be as little distracted by the shortcomings of the body as possible. The body must be able to apply itself to bring the mind into contact with that which will best feed it. In order for the mind to experience the mountaintop, the body must be able to walk up the mountain. It must carry its weight. In order for the mind to contemplate the mountaintop, the body must be able to carry the weight of that which will allow the mind the time to contemplate the mountaintop. It must carry its supplies. In order to not suffer injury along the way, such as would prevent the reaching of the mountaintop, the body must be agile. It must not trip and fall. The body must be strong. It must be fed according to need. To reach the summit, the body must be as lean as the summit, as strong as the summit, as agile as the summit. Objective nutrition is the influence that, whether applied to the body, mind, or spirit, increases the capacity to reach the summit. Subjective nutrition is the influence of the content of the individual's subjective environment. It is up to the individual to choose the nutrition that either maintains, increases, or decreases his position of relative objective health. Objective rationality requires choosing nutrition, influence, that increases health, first at the level of spirit, then by that at the level of mind, then by that at the level of body. Until mankind understands nutrition as a principle and applies it throughout his experience to guide his choices, he will continue to suffer the indignity of the position he allows through his maintenance of weakness.